My name is Per Christer Lund. I'm from the Norwegian Embassy, and I'd like to welcome all and thank you very much to the Singapore Technology Consortium and Synergy for hosting this web meeting at the Science and Technology Diplomatic Circle. I have with me two of my co-chairs, Emi Kaneko from the Japan Science and Technology Agency in Singapore, and Craig Wetmore, the Embassy of US. There's also two other co-chairs in this for this network. It's Chamira Lessigny from Embassy of France and Joël Brenner, Embassy of Switzerland. So this, as the members know, but maybe not all from Synergy know, this is a informal network of from the diplomatic corps in Singapore with interest in science and technology matters. We meet regularly. This is actually the 9th meeting this year, and we have meetings then with entities, Singaporean entities that the members find relevant and interesting to connect with. So this is a good channel for us to learn more about the science and technology landscape in Singapore. But it's also, it could be, as you notice, Matthew, this could also be a good channel for you to connect with the diplomatic corps. We have members from almost all the missions in Singapore, so please use us also for making connections or relations with embassies and missions that you like to connect with.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, so we have a great lineup today. We have interesting presentations of the Synergy, but without further ado, I think maybe I should give the microphone to Eugene C., Director of the Consortium Management Office for Singapore Technology Consortium. Maybe you can tell us what the consortium is and what Synergy is as well.
Sure. Thanks, Per Christer. Thanks for the introduction. I think I would just before we jump into Synergy, I thought it would be good to just give everyone an overview of what these technology consortia are about, and then also share with everyone here what this Consortium Management Office that was recently set up all about. Can you all see my slides?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So just once again, good morning, everyone. So I would be jumping straight in to be introducing the Tech Consortia scheme. So what would happen here is, I think some of you already know that Singapore has been investing in R&D since 1991. And with the setup of the National Research Foundation in 2006, there was an inflection point at which a significant amount of research funding was then made available to the universities through the Competitive Research Program, or more commonly known as the CRP. And so over the years, with investment from NRF and also the Ministry of Education, there has been a build-up of expertise and knowledge within the ecosystem around certain emerging technology areas. And so it was because of this, then NRF saw an opportunity to launch this Tech Consortia scheme itself to help drive the translation of technology from the universities into the industry. So these Tech Consortia are national platforms and are focused around a particular emerging technology area and was meant to build up an ecosystem of many-to-many engagements involving researchers and industry members. So from the timeline shown at the bottom of the slide, we actually had the first consortium that was launched was Spintronics in 2014. The Lux Photonic Consortium then followed in 2016. And in 2018 and 2019, with a stronger push towards I&E, the industry and innovation and enterprise outcomes, a few more consortia was launched, and Synergy, which we will hear more about later, was one of them that was launched recently. And so this slide, I'm going to talk to you about some of the features of these tech consortia. They are meant to be nucleating points for three main groups. So namely the research performers, where you have representatives from the universities, the A-star research institutes, and also some of the polytechnics in Singapore. And the next large group will be the industry partners, both local and overseas, who are interested in leveraging technology to improve their competitiveness. And as of today, we have more than 200 industry members spread across these 8 tech consortia. There are a sizable amount of international companies also involved, together with our large local enterprises, our local SMBs, and our startups too. And the last group would be this, what we know as translation centers. Because as we know, technology that's usually developed within the research institutes or the universities are slightly less mature. And so with leveraging such technology centers, then they may be able to help push along the technologies into a more mature state where it will be more attractive to companies to take up. And so with these, by bringing together these 3 groups, these tech consortia are also able to offer networking opportunities for all of these members, for industry members to learn about cutting edge technologies, and also for our academic partners to find out more about what are the research questions, research problems that our industry members are facing. And with that, there's also access to research capability and infrastructure, and where certain partnerships can be formed, these consortia also do have a small amount of project seed funding to help catalyze these sort of interactions. So that's basically what the tech consortia is in a nutshell. So how we view these tech consortia and their unique value to the ecosystem is that they are meant to be this main focal point for companies or industry members looking for a particular technology that they are interested in, and to working with the local academic ecosystem. And it's because these tech consortia, they have the knowledge and expertise of they have knowledge of what expertise lies within our ecosystem and the infrastructure that's available. And they are also able to curate and bundle existing intellectual property to enhance the value to industry partners. So like what I said earlier, they also are able to facilitate projects with companies that help bring these technologies out. And they are also the gateway for international companies looking to establish a footprint in Singapore. So basically, this brings to an end the introduction of what the Tech Consortium scheme really is about. In the next couple of slides, I'll talk about how the Consortium Management Office has come into play recently to help support these tech consortia. So as mentioned earlier, there are 8 such tech consortia that are currently active. Let me take this opportunity to quickly run through the different technology areas that they are focused in. So from the left, we have actually SPECS, which is focused on smart grid and power electronics technologies. We have Cooler Singapore, which they are focused on cooling technologies for the buildings and data centers. And then we have the Battery Consortium, which they are focused on battery technologies. We have Biofilms, Synergy, which I mentioned earlier, you will hear more about later on synthetic biology. We have SGMEM, which is a membranes consortium that leverages off Singapore's very early investments in water purification. And also we have Lux Photonics consortium. And finally, we have one on health technology. So these are the 8 that are currently active under the purview of the Consortium Management Office. And so with these that were launched over the last few years, NRF thought it would be an opportune time to set up this Consortium Management Office. It would be this national coordinating center for all these tech consortia to provide central management oversight and to also support these consortia in achieving their objectives. And so what we really want to do is to help these consortia to drive industry adoption of technology. First, by building a network of R&D capability to ensure that really these tech consortia have the broadest overview of the expertise that's available in Singapore. We also like to promote cross-consortia collaborations because we understand that certain research questions get more complex, and hence there would be value in these consortia working together with each other. And also to help these consortia then align their priorities towards certain national strategies. And finally, we also want to, from a more operational perspective, to coordinate best practices of all these tech consortia, so that, let's say, for example, if a new consortia is launched, let's say sometime next year, then they wouldn't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel of how to set everything up, get everything running. So what really the Consortium Management Office really hopes to do is to support all of these consortia collectively and individually in establishing this vibrant ecosystem where researchers, innovators, and enterprises can come together to co-develop technologies. And I've come to the last slide where I have just a few parting words, that just to remind everyone that these tech industry consortia are national platforms. They are meant to aggregate expertise from all over Singapore. They are agnostic of the institutions that they represent. They are looking to also then aggregate expertise and also access to infrastructure that can help facilitate interactions with industry partners and help with technology translation. And CMO's role really is to support all these tech consortia, and we can also act as the main point of contact for access to these consortium capabilities. So if any of you have any questions on how these tech consortia operate, or you have similar consortia within your home countries that are looking to expand overseas and to establish international connections, please reach out to me. My email is down below. So we'll do whatever we can to help facilitate some of these conversations. And so that's what I have. Thank you very much. I think I don't know whether we will be taking questions now or later. I leave it up to you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Eugene, for that overview. If anyone has questions, you can put it on the chat, or I think there is a way to raise your hand, perhaps, or just take the word. Just feel free to unmute. We are so few that we can do that. So just take the word if you like. I have one question to you, Eugene, and you mentioned that you are expanding collaboration, and you're expanding the consortia, and you are open for international collaboration. You mentioned quite a few of larger international companies and also smaller startups. Do you have any mechanism? I mean, for us representing the various countries, and it's in our interest also to build relationship on research, on university relations, and also commercial interests in Singapore. Do you have any examples or mechanisms that can help us to bring our tech companies to Singapore in this ecosystem? Do you have any good examples of where you've been working with some other, let's say, embassies or missions?
Sure. We haven't directly. Okay, so the Consortium Management Office was just set up a year ago. We haven't been interacting with the embassies and things, but individually, these tech consortia, they have been reaching out to other similar tech consortia or consortia which are around the world. And to your question on how they are able to facilitate overseas countries coming to Singapore,
right.
There have been examples in which, let's say I quote an example from the Lux Photonics Consortium. They have been to the UK a couple of times. They have presented their work there mainly to showcase the companies there, what's available in Singapore. And from those sorts of interactions, there have been interest from some of those companies to actually set up shop here in Singapore. And it is through these tech consortia that they will then refer to EDB to how they can go about coming over to Singapore and then establishing their own footprint here. So it's just different mechanisms at which they can bring these overseas companies together. There are also instances, let's say the Membranes Consortium, they have reached out to other international partners who have expertise that Singapore doesn't have. Trying to augment that sort of expertise, which is then made available to the international partners. So there is no hard and fast rule of how these international partnerships can take place. It's ultimately whatever makes the most sense for a particular technology area, because I'm sure different technology areas, they are at different maturity levels, and the ecosystem is definitely different itself. So there is no one method which would necessarily dictate how these international partnerships go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking for myself, but the way we work when it comes to market access or market entry into, let's say, Singapore, we identify the key stakeholders in Singapore that can help us to define problem statements or missions within an area. Say, smart grid as one of the consortia, or battery or biofilm. Yeah. Would you be interested in kind of being our support partner on this? Could you help us in identifying where the problem statements, the opportunity space is? Would you be, interested in interacting with not only with us but also probably the other embassies as well, to identify these problem statements that are looking for solutions, or even your solutions that we have problem statements for? You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, okay. I understand where you're coming from. So the experts in this area are really the people like you have here, like Matthew, who is in synthetic biology, and the battery. They have their own directors who lead this. Yeah. But the role I serve is really to support. And if, let's say, there is a central area where, let's say, the embassies have certain questions, I can coordinate all these questions and then help to direct them to the right directors, and then make the connections. I can facilitate those connections. And like I said, the experts are really the directors
in the various consortium. I understand.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But you could be kind of facilitator, at least.
Yes,
initial contact person. Yep. Yeah. Fantastic. That's great. I think that will be very useful for all of us. So thank you very much. Any other questions or comments from the floor? If not, let's move on then to Konstantinos Mavitsas, talking about one of these consortium, the Consortium for Synthetic Biology. Kostas, do you?
Good morning, everyone.
Presentation.
I can probably see my slide. So good morning from my part. I'm Kostas Vavitsas. I am the manager of Synergy, and I'm talking before my director, Matthew Chang, so I hope there is not too much overlap, but I'm very happy to be here with the representatives from the Science and Technology Diplomatic Cycle. And what I will do now is give you a brief overview of what Synergy is and what it is about. And I think that our director will then go deeper a bit on what kind of projects we have run and what is the science. Synergy is, as Eugene said, one of the technology consortia founded in 2018. And our role is to leverage the Synergy's significant capacity in synthetic biology and translate it into real-world applications, with creating synergies between industry and academic institutions, and help our partners leverage their scientific knowledge and translate it into real-world applications. You will hear more about synthetic biology, but just briefly, I would define synthetic biology as in two ways. One is to use biology as an engineering component, meaning that you use living organisms and living biomolecules in technological applications. And the second part is using engineering principles in biology. So instead of doing it biology the old way, you use engineering mindset in order to improve your biological system in order to perform one function or one application. This discipline is fairly new. The more significant development started happening about 10 years ago, and then we started seeing some big rise in synthetic biology multinational companies, and also bigger established companies using actually synthetic biology principles and applications, even if they don't call themselves synthetic biology companies. Synergy is aiming to be a global hub of collaboration in synthetic biology. So Singapore has a very successful and very, let's say, famous Center of Synthetic Biology. And Synergy aims to be the focal point of where people from abroad, as both scientists and entrepreneurs, or people like you that want to explore business opportunities, can come and learn what is happening in Synergy and see if there is any collaboration potential. We have catalyzed so far more than 20 industry collaborations, And we are quite active in outreach and promoting synthetic biology, both as a mindset and as a technological solution. And we are always very happy to talk to people, collaborate, and promote our values and our expertise. Some areas of expertise can be found here where we are very interested and we run projects. The more typical areas are like protein and strain engineering, when you have microorganisms that you want to do something for you and then you improve it using synthetic biology techniques. Tools and automation is our way where we actually use our high throughput engineering capacities in order to make strain engineering faster and more engineering wise, more scientific, let's say. And areas where like sustainability, biomanufacturing, and therapeutics are, of course, areas with immediate application effect. Recently, we started going into more, let's say, trendy areas like DNA data storage and even more recently, alternative protein. And essentially, we are industry broad in industries that we talk to, since we are promoting a technology use rather than a specific industrial application. I'll give you very quickly, and I presume our director might go into deeper one, of some examples of collaborations that we have done. Our biggest center is the Wilmar at NUS Corporate Lab, where Wilmar and NUS S&TDC have established a corporate lab with various research venues that they are exploring, and they are actually, for the last few years, are developing products that they use in their products. Another recent example is Huahao. Huahao is a Chinese chemical company which is moving into biomanufacturing. So they do that by establishing a corporate lab with NUS and S&TDC. And they are also expanding their biomanufacturing capacities with the help of other institutes in Singapore. So essentially, you can see synergy as a way to start exploring a new field, and then we link with the relevant institutions and with the relevant authorities so that you can proceed into the project that is more relevant to you. Another collaboration, which is a smaller case, but very interesting in terms of how a collaboration can look like, is with Singer, which is a UK family-owned company. This company is making automated colony pickers. So essentially, they find in Petri dishes which colony has grown and has certain characteristics in an automated way. And this collaboration took place like this. The company hired a local person who was acting as an engineer and as a sales representative. They brought an instrument. The researchers in NUS used the instrument, gave feedback, made improvements, and also helped this whole endeavor to promote the instrument, which sold in various countries. I think 17 instruments in Asia and Australia. As I was saying, we have a lot of global partners with, for example, CSIRO, CNRS, and the UK, African American initiatives. And also we are in close contact with government agencies and other entities in Singapore. And of course, the other consortia, if there is relevant or overlap. Our partners, we have as partners many major research institutes in Singapore, and a lot of industry partners. We are counting 21 right now, and that includes big multinational companies like Agilent and Illumina, local startups, and also smaller companies or companies that may not be strictly synthetic biology companies, but are exploring the use of biology as an engineering tool. Membership in Synergy companies pay to get a membership, but startups have their membership fee waived. And what they gain is that they get connected to the local R&D and synthetic biology ecosystem. We have our networking events. Unfortunately, now we don't do many physical events, but hopefully we will resume from 2022. And we develop collaborations. We give a small seed funding to initiate the projects, and we also facilitate projects to go at a higher level. This is an overview of our membership. And with that, I will end my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Kostas. Again, floor is open for questions. If not, I have one. I think, did you mention you're working on bionutrients or synthetic food production? Is that an
yes,
area?
Exactly. So we started going into that recently. And of course, you think, how can you have nutrients and food and synthetic biology or bioengineering together? The thing is, besides the actual product, there are a lot of steps where you need to optimize and improve the biology and the processes and use components that sometimes they are not easy to gain.
Yeah.
So we got interest from a lot of the recent startups. Of course, you know that Nutrient Singapore is attracting quite a lot of talent and startups in this space.
Yeah.
And some of them are thinking bigger and think that how they can improve their products using our engineering biology approach.
Yeah, again, I'm talking for myself here. Sorry for that, for the rest of the community here. But we are engaged in aquaculture and to support Singapore in reaching its 30 by 30 goal of increasing the protein production or food production in Singapore by, for example, aquaculture. And the most important part of aquaculture, or the cost side, is the feed. There are many avenues, of course, to produce fish feed. Also synthetic or synthesis of various fish feed. Is that an area? I mean, I know that SFA to some extent is working on that, and you have several of the universities that are looking into this as well. Is that something that your labs are looking into or will be looking into? I mean, that would be of high interest from our side, at least.
So I'm not aware of a dedicated project on that side that is running. I know that there is work in Singapore about aquaculture, and if particularly the Nian Polytechnic has some aquaculture activity, and there are some local companies there. I think it's when you talk about food, it's a complex issue, so you have to break it down into components, and you think which exactly part is your bottleneck, and then you solve it bottleneck by bottleneck, right? So in this case, if there are specific issues, then of course there can be a collaboration with the expertise that exists. When you're talking about aquaculture particularly, and about the feed of the aquaculture, sure, I was an algae researcher before I took up this job, and one of the projects I was working on was how to develop algae that can be nice supplement to fish dietary. And I know that there is good expertise in this space in Singapore if you're looking into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know. Yes, we have a good relationship with A-Star, for example, and also with James Cook University and others. So yeah. And
just one more comment on this note. Actually, National Research Foundation has been running, as you may know, marine science program for past couple of years, which actually involves not only NUS but also NTU and A-Star. And also Temasek Life Sciences Laboratory. I mean, they also have some expertise surrounding your topic of interest.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have good dialogue with all of them. But I was just wondering whether that would be part of Kostas's labs. But we can have a side discussion on that, Kostas. Maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can evolve into that area. Great. Very good. Thank you very much for that. Let's go over, Matthew, you will take over again and talk a bit further, I believe, on synergy or the synthetic biology research and technology development in Singapore, whether it's fish feed or not. I'd like to hear what you're doing.
Yeah, so my plan is to give you a very high level overview of the research strategy and plan, and actually what actually has been happening in the space of synthetic biology in Singapore. And of course, the main message that I hope to convey to all of you in this audience is that Singapore is really striving to become a bioeconomy innovation hub. And I think we are really looking forward to partnering with all of you. So I think we are all here today because we like biotechnology and also biology. And as you know, bioeconomy is an economic activity fueled by biotechnological innovations. And in the recent years, I believe, and many people also believe, that tremendous advancements have been made and now also being made in the space of biotechnology in general. And I think these advancements are making significant contribution to really promoting and growing the global bioeconomy. So one of the reasons that I think biotech in general is gaining a lot of attention and traction is that biotechnology is really becoming a convergence science. And as you may be aware, an array of scientific disciplines such as biology, medicine, chemistry, engineering, computing, even robotics are now converging in biotechnology. So I really hope to argue that biotech is truly becoming a convergent science. And I also hope to argue that this convergent science might be synthetic biology. And as Costas beautifully illustrated, synthetic biology actually aims to develop a new biological systems and products through the engineering of biology. I mean, this is still a young field, but there are so many different definitions of synthetic biology. But in general, synthetic biology is the design and engineering of biological-based parts and novel devices and systems, as well as a redesign of existing natural biological systems. And this definition was coined by the UK's Synthetic Biology Roadmap Committee in 2012. But shortly speaking, I think synthetic biology also can be defined as a discipline that aims to make the engineering of biology cheaper, faster, and more predictable. So as I mentioned earlier, various scientific disciplines are now converging in biology and biotechnology in general. And as Costas briefly touched upon, especially the engineering framework that comprises design, build, test, and learn cycle is being implemented and also integrated into various biotechnological processes to make the engineering of biology faster and more cost-effective. In more recent years, biotechnology is also becoming automated, which can increase the speed and accuracy and also reproducibility of the biotechnological processes. And this automation that is empowered by robotics and also data science, including artificial intelligence, can really bring down, we believe, the cost associated with biotechnology and its processes. Even though synthetic biology, as I mentioned before, is a very young field, but I think the field actually has shown a great potential to make a significant contribution to various industry sectors, including chemical and materials industry, and also consumer product industry, and even human health industry sectors. And I think some synthetic biologists in the field are saying now synthetic biology is really accelerating biological industry revolution. And because of this potential, and as you may be aware, a number of countries have established a research and development roadmap for synthetic biology, including US, UK, very recently Australia, and China, Japan, and Korea as well, and of course Singapore included, and also quite a few international organizations and so societies have identified synthetic biology as a key technology for bioeconomy. And those organizations include a World Economic Forum and OECD. So I think this probably depicts the future that I'm personally hoping to see, and I'm expecting. And I'm sure actually many of you also share the same expectation and also aspiration. And I think the world that is empowered by bioeconomy, that is sustainable and resilient, I mean, this is the world that actually we really hope to see in the near future. And I really hope to say that synthetic biology has the potential to contribute this endeavor. So given this great potential of synthetic biology, the question is, the synthetic biology is really relevant to Singapore? And our answer is, of course, yes. We have strong relevant industry sectors, including chemicals and pharmaceutical industry sectors. And also we actually have a very strong R&D capabilities related to synthetic biology. And we truly believe that we can build on this strength to transform Singapore into a leading innovation hub in synthetic biology and bioeconomy. So I just want to briefly walk you through a brief history of synthetic biology in Singapore. So synthetic biology a couple of years ago was identified as a strategic area which holds a disruptive potential in Singapore. So investment of National Research Foundation, NRF, in synthetic biology has been growing significantly in recent years. In 2013, actually, NRF set up, actually 2014, NRF set up a synthetic biology task force. And this task force subsequently made a recommendation for further investment in synthetic biology. And NRF launched the Biological Design Tools and Application Grand Core, I think in 2014, 2015. And the objective of this Grand Core was to seed and challenge and also grow the synthetic biology ecosystem here. And since then, the community of synthetic biology has been growing in a very exciting manner. And in 2015, NUS actually started the research center on synthetic biology, and they actually named it SYN-CITY, synthetic biology for clinical and technological innovation. And also thanks to NRF support and also CMO's support, the synergy actually was established in 2017 and 2018. And even in on A-STAR side, they actually formed the Biotransformation Innovation Platform. And also in the more recent years, in 2018, NUS and Wilmar actually jointly set up corporate laboratory focused on synthetic biology. So as Kostas mentioned, we have, I think, very exciting ecosystem and synthetic biology community here, which comprises research performance, including IEHLs at universities and also A-STAR and polytechnics. And also funding agencies. I just want to take this opportunity to thank Eugene for his support, and also other funding agencies, including NMRC, more recently MINDEP, EDB, and Ministry of Education, and even NEA actually have been supporting synthetic biology. And of course, we have quite a few industry partners now. So one of the big strategies that we laid out for synthetic biology is, of course, as Kostas mentioned, catalyzing public-private partnerships. For this, actually, we've been working very closely with the key industry members in the space of chemical manufacturing, and also healthcare, and also laboratory automation as well. So in 2018, actually, we formalized the establishment of synthetic biology national consortium, and actually we named it Synergy. So Singapore Consortium for Synthetic Biology. And as Kostas mentioned, our primary mission and also aim is actually has been to consolidate Singapore's research capabilities in synthetic biology, and also catalyze private-public partnerships, and also collaboration, ultimately contributing to growing bioeconomy in Singapore. We are also placing a lot of emphasis on training. So we've been actually training a lot of students from our polytechnics and also junior colleges in synthetic biology. We even made a comic book on synthetic biology for public outreach and also education. And of course, we've been trying to bring together academics and also industry scientists so that they can meet more often and they can talk about some great ideas, and eventually these ideas hopefully we can lead to some tangible research and economic outcomes in the future. We also organized international conference on synthetic biology. This actually still marked one of the largest synthetic biology conferences held so far. In fact, about 1,000 people actually came from 40 countries around the world for this meeting. And of course, we actually talked about all the topics related to synthetic biology at the conference. So, and as I mentioned to you before, we actually take private-public partnership very seriously. And this actually has been our main strategy for continuing to grow synthetic biology in Singapore. So if academic members and industry members can come up with some great ideas, Synergy, Singapore Consortium for Synthetic Biology, can seed projects at a very small scale. And then if the projects go well as planned, and then actually we talk to our funding agencies together, and then our funding agencies can continue to support industry and academic collaboration. And actually we've been working on, our community collectively, as Kostas mentioned, has been working on various industry projects that fall under very exciting research topics, including microbiome, automation, DNA data security and storage, and also even standardization and also metrology. These are actually very important principles that can underpin synthetic biology. So we are currently running, our community currently running various industry projects together. And we also hope to build a leading, world leading, hopefully, synthetic biology R&D capabilities as well. So National Research Foundation rolled out a few the research programs in an attempt to really continue to grow our R&D capabilities in synthetic biology. And some of the capabilities have been built to grow our sustainable biomanufacturing capability nationally. And because of this effort, as Kostas mentioned, Wilmar is actually is the world's largest oleochemicals manufacturer and one of the largest food ingredients companies in Asia and in the world. And they were really interested in harnessing synthetic biology to further develop their sustainable biomanufacturing capabilities. That's the reason Singapore and US and Wilmar actually set up this corporate laboratory. So through various programs that I briefly touched upon, we are actually building the research capabilities in synthetic biology. And actually we are working more closely with industry. And we also hope to really make a contribution to advancing synthetic biology on an international stage. And because of this reason, a couple of years ago, Singapore and US and Imperial College and UC Berkeley and Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory actually had a meeting at NUS on non-commercial and public biofoundries. At the time, institutions around the world were developing biofoundries. Biofoundries are small biological engineering factory where some of the key steps of biological engineering can be automated and also produce a big data. So in this manner, the engineering framework that comprises design, build, and test life cycle can be accelerated to design and then build new biological products in a more efficient manner. So a number of universities and also research institutes around the world were very, very interested in building public biofoundries. We actually sat together and then we decided to form international alliance on biofoundries. So in 2018, actually, we formalized the establishment of Global Biofoundries Alliance. And actually, we are very happy that actually we played a leading role in this establishment. So initially 16 biofoundries around the world, including the ones from UK, Germany, and Denmark, and Finland, and also USA, China, Japan, and also Australia and Singapore and Canada. Actually, we co-founded Global Biofoundry Alliance a couple of years ago. We've been actually engaging various stakeholders in the space of synthetic biology very actively. We've been holding annual meetings and various webinars because of the pandemic situation. And actually we are collaborating really to promote and advance a non-commercial and public biofoundries. We now have actually over 30 members in this alliance. So we actually have members now from Korea, more members from China, more members from Australia, and more members from USA and also Canada, and you know other countries in Europe as well. And more regionally, we also co-founded Asian Synthetic Biology Association with Japan, Korea, and China. So about 50 universities in this region are members, institutional members of our association, and we actually have over 300 synthetic biologists as members of this association. And we've been actually of course, promoting synthetic biology collectively. At the same time, we've been collaborating on various synthetic biologies focused on this region through various mechanisms. And I believe that actually we can do more together, I mean, regionally and internationally. And actually, I really believe that if you work together, we can really make our world a better place, of course. And in this, during this process, we really truly believe that we can also transform Singapore into internationally leading bioeconomy innovation hub. And to this end, actually, we are really looking forward to working very closely with all of you. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Matthew. That was a great overview. I think you mentioned that about recruitment of talent, maybe the interest from students and researcher in this field. Perhaps the Nobel Prize in chemistry this year, which is on what do they call it? Asymmetric biocatalysis, organocatalysis. Is in your field. Would that increase a bit of the interest and motivation to move into this space, you think? Would it have a positive effect on that? I mean, it's 20 years old technology and it's deployed, but just to have a Nobel Prize in this is kind of raises the attention.
Right. Yes. I mean, that's an excellent point. And I think that's something the biology field in general has been working towards as well, because this asymmetric chemistry and also kind of racemic structure and mixtures, biology also has some solutions for. And that's something that many synthetic biologists believe that they can harness more for chemical industry. And I think that's something that can really excite many people. There's a research field that can resonate with a vision of many synthetic biologists around the world.
Yeah. Just one more curiosity question, and that's about 3D printing. I was visiting NTU and actually the group here, the Science and Technology Circle, visited the 3D printing lab at NTU twice, I think, over the last number of years. And they're talking about organic or printing of anything from polymers to organs. Is that the area that is within your sphere as well? It's a combination of engineering technologies.
Right. I mean, that's an exciting research development for sure. And I wouldn't say actually that's part of our core research capability, but some members of our community have been harnessing 3D printing system to develop some key instruments and key functionalities for our biofoundries. Because we are actually now in the process of miniaturizing some of the key steps involved in biological engineering, and I believe that 3D printing has been also will continue to play a key role in realizing this vision.
Yes, because we're talking about synthesis or production of tissues, for example, organic tissues, and even in the future, maybe organs. It's
right.
An incredible opportunity or possibility, but
yes,
complicated.
Right. So maybe just one thing that I just want to emphasize is that we've been actually working with some scientific associates from embassies based in Singapore for synthetic biology. Before Pascal Loubrouille from French embassy, we actually had a lot of exchanges, and we, because of the exchanges that's supported by French embassy, we actually recently set up a create program focused on synthetic biology, and over 40 scientists from France and also Singapore are now participating in this synthetic biology program. And with the UK, actually, we've been working very closely on biofoundry development, also US EBRC, Engineering Biology Research Consortium, and before SIMBIRG, National Synthetic Biology Consortium, and Synergy. Actually, we've been actually collaborating and partnering very intimately as well. Just some examples, but we have more such examples.
We're running out of time, and unless there are no more further questions or comments, I think we would like to thank you, Eugene and Kostas and Matthew, for this very, very interesting introduction to this consortia and the consortia structure. I believe that from a high level, maybe Eugene would be a point of contact. When it comes to synthetic biology, it's rather Matthew or
absolutely.
Kostas.
I mean, whatever Eugene says, we usually do and deliver.
No, come on.
That's great.
We all work together.
Very good, very good. Would you mind sharing the presentations with us? I will put it on our website. Very good, very good. Okay, with that, I thank you very much for the presentation, and then thanks to all the listeners as well. And I wish you a very good Friday. Stay healthy.
Have a good day. Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.